Okay, we are trying this for the third time. Third time is the charm. Let's hope. All right, so unfortunately, as I present the um, the webinar today, I will not be able to show my face, which could be a good thing for you guys. But I do want to make sure that you can see my slides, so I'm just going to make sure that we are indeed live on the in our Facebook group here. Okay, let's see. Do, 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 do. Okay. All right. We are. So, welcome to the 3 common mistakes that slow down your metabolism and make losing weight more difficult. So, today we are going to talk about all things metabolism. Many of us are confused about what exactly is my metabolism. I hear I hear this word, this seems to be like a buzzword when it comes to weight loss, but what is it and what can I do to not slow it down? Because the last thing we want to do is slow down our metabolism. So, what am I doing here? How can I make it faster? How can I fix those mistakes? We are going to talk about all of that stuff. Plus, at the end, I have a very special freebie for you that is going to take it to the next level and give you an exact plan on how to fix your individual metabolism. So, when we are done today, and um, you will be able to walk away with lots of knowledge that you can put into effect today to make your metabolism work better for you. So let's get it moving. All right. So, if you don't know who I am, if we have not met either via DMs or talked at all, my name is Christina. I have been in the fitness business for, gosh, close to 20 years now. And I started my own fitness business back in 2020. And it is called Be Fit with Christina. And I have created several different programs, but my flagship program is my From Flabby to Firm coaching program, which is a weight loss coaching program for mamas just like you guys. And the reason I did this is because I have done it. I've been there from, being a tired new mama with lots of excess weight. And now at 44, I can honestly say I am in the best shape of my life. Okay. I struggled from a very young age with an unhealthy relationship with food. I hopped from diet to diet. I started dieting at the age of probably like 11. And I also struggled with a lot of um, hatred towards my body and very little confidence because of my body. And again, now in my 40s, I can say that I actually love and feel confident in my body for the very first time. So, going through all of that is what drove me to start my own business so that I can help other mamas just like me do the same thing. And feel confident and comfortable and happy in their own skin because it makes the world of difference. So that's just a tad about me. Now, this particular webinar is for you if you too are a busy mom and you're juggling multiple things, you feel overwhelmed, you want to prioritize your health, but you struggle knowing how. Because finding time for yourself is next to impossible. As moms, we pretty much do it all. We're juggling a million things at once, and oftentimes our own health and well being goes to the wayside. And, all of those demands are leaving us feeling exhausted, and we're struggling to maintain a healthy weight. And we just feel depressed and we feel like we have no control over our own body. And there's many of us that feel that way. So if any of these speak to how you are feeling, know that you are not alone. Almost every mama in this group that you are watching this in feels the same way. And there are ways to make it all work, even as a busy mom who has a million and one things on her plate. So what you are going to learn today is exactly how your metabolism works and why it is so important in your fat loss journey. You're going to learn some practical nutrition strategies, okay, that are going to cater to you specifically as a mom, okay, that are not going to be these long drawn out, meals that you have to spend hours cooking, or you have to make two separate meals for yourself and then for another meal for your family. To learn some very practical strategies. I'm also going to help you sort through all of that misinformation and debunk many of the myths that surround metabolism and weight loss. And you will learn some time effective exercise routines that will help you boost your metabolism and help you with that fat loss. And the key word there is sustainable, because we don't want to have to continue to lose fat for the rest of our lives. What typically happens is we lose fat and then we gain it all back, and then we lose it and we gain it all back. And that's because we're not following a sustainable plan. So I strive to help you figure out how to do this in a way where you only have to do it once. And then you are at your healthy weight for the rest of your life. All right, so let's start with the big question. What exactly is your metabolism? And if you have any questions as I'm going through any of this, please feel free to drop them in the chat. I will be taking a look at it periodically. So your metabolism is basically the technical definition is all the chemical processes going on inside your body that allow life and normal functioning. Okay, so these processes include things like breaking down the nutrients from your food, and building and repairing your body. So it's basically everything that your body is doing to keep you alive. Okay, it takes energy for your body to do all of those things. Okay, and that is your calories that you are burning. So your metabolism is divided into four main sections. And the technical term for it is your total daily energy expenditure. So the total number of calories that you are burning in one day. And sometimes you might see, something called a TDEE calculator that goes along with this, right? So the four ways that our body burns calories throughout the day is number one, your BMR, which is your basal metabolic rate, and we'll talk about exactly what that is in a minute. Number two, NEAT, which is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Big long name, that's why it's much easier to say NEAT. Number three is EAT, your exercise activity thermogenesis. And the fourth one is TEF, the thermic effect of food. And all four of those things put together is your metabolism, or your TDEE, the total number of calories that you burn in a day. Okay. So let's start off with the basal metabolic rate. So this is the amount of energy your body needs to function while at rest. Okay. So in other words, the amount of calories your body burns to keep you alive. Okay. To keep your heart beating, to keep your lungs working, to keep everything in working order. And this accounts for the largest percentage of your TDEE, of your metabolism. And it accounts for about 70% of your metabolism, of the number of calories you burn in a day. And there is a formula where you can get a fairly good estimate of what your basal metabolic rate is. And it takes into account your weight, your height, your age, and your sex. And I think I have it on the next page. Yes. So here's the formula if you want to take a screenshot of this and do the calculations later, because they are, it's a pretty big formula here. So basically what you're going to do, you first have to figure out how much you weigh in kilograms. So if you take your weight in pounds and divide it by 2.2, that's going to be your weight in kilograms. Okay. And then you also have to figure out your height in centimeters. And offhand, I don't know the formula for that one, but there are calculators that you can just Google inches to centimeters, and you can just type in your inches and it'll pop out how many centimeters you are. So once you have those two numbers, then you're going to take your weight in kilograms and multiply it by 10. And to that, you're going to add your height in centimeters multiplied by 6.25. Okay, and then you're going to subtract your age multiplied by 5, and then you're going to subtract 161. I have no idea where 161 came from, how they figured this out, mathematicians, but that is what it is for females, and it is a little different for males. So here's an example. So let's say you weigh 70.3 kilograms and you are 177.8 centimeters tall and you're 44 years old. Okay. These are the calculations, and for this particular person, which is me, now that I look at it, I'm like, wait a minute, I think I did that with my numbers. My basal metabolic rate is just over 1,400 calories, approximately. Okay, so I would recommend doing this for yourself just to kind of have an idea of how many calories your body is burning just to keep you alive. Okay, so how can you increase your BMR? So for each of those 4 sections of your metabolism, I'm going to give you tips on how to increase it. Okay, because if you can increase each of those 4 different parts, then you will have a nice increase in your metabolism, the number of calories you burn. Best way to increase your BMR, your basal metabolic rate, is to build muscle. Okay. 1 pound of fat burns about 2 calories per day. 1 pound of muscle burns more than twice that. It burns 5 calories per day. So if we can replace fat with muscle, if we have more muscle on our body, more muscle is more metabolically active. Our body needs to work harder to keep our muscle active. So therefore, we're burning more calories, and that's how we can increase that BMR. It's not going to be a huge increase because BMR is, as you can see, based a lot on height, weight, age, things like that. But this will give it just a slight little bump, and every little bump helps. So building muscle. And we will talk a little bit more about how to build muscle in a few minutes here. All right. The second part of your TDEE or metabolism is your non-exercise activity thermogenesis or NEAT. This is the amount of energy your body expends for everything that you do that is not sleeping, not eating, or not actual exercise. Okay, so in other words, it's how many calories your body burns during non-intentional exercise. So standing up and walking to your kitchen, that is part of your NEAT. You're burning calories by standing up and walking to your kitchen to go get your lunch. Okay, or walking to the bathroom. So anything that is not intentional exercise is your non-activity thermogenesis, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And it accounts for the second largest chunk of your metabolism, about 15 to 30% of your metabolism. Okay. How can you increase your NEAT? Move more throughout the day. So you have probably seen a big push on walking more, focusing on getting more steps throughout the day. And this is why moving more throughout the day can greatly increase your NEAT. Okay. And this is the piece of our metabolism where we have the most room to increase. Okay, where we have the most control over how much we can increase it. Okay, walking can double the number of calories you burn versus just resting. Okay, so that's why getting enough steps throughout the day and having a step goal is so incredibly important, because that is a super easy way to increase your NEAT. Okay. And I'm sure you've heard all of the suggestions of, park further away from, the store when you go grocery shopping so that you walk more. Walk to the mailbox to mail a letter instead of driving your car there. Anytime you can get that added movement in throughout the day, it has a very, very, very big effect. Okay. So, what are some other ways that you can move more? One great way is to get a standing desk. So, even just standing is going to make a world of difference over sitting. There is something, I can't remember if it's on the next slide. No, okay. So, there is something called sitting disease. And in fact, sitting for 6 or more hours a day, which many of us do at work, is more harmful to our health than smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. And to me, that was a huge eye opener when I read that. We all know how horrible smoking is for us and how dangerous it is. And we're just starting to learn how harmful it is to sit for too long. Okay, so getting a standing desk is one way to move more. Another one is to get a walking pad or a treadmill desk. I bought a treadmill off of Facebook for like $100. Somehow got it into my basement. I thought it was going to get stuck in the stairwell, but it didn't. We got it down there. And then I bought this treadmill desk that I can put on my treadmill, and I will put the treadmill on a very low speed and do my work while I'm walking. Okay. You don't have to be walking fast. You don't have to be getting your heart rate up. You don't have to be getting sweaty. Just simply walking while you're working is amazing. It has so many benefits. And especially if you live somewhere in a colder climate, like I'm in a suburb of Chicago, and yes, right now we can walk outside every day, but there will come a time, probably in November, where that's not really going to be an ideal thing to do. So having this option is huge. Another way to move more is to just fidget more. Fidgeting, moving your leg up and down. My grandma used to always get so annoyed with me because I was always a fidgeter, and I would swing my leg up and down when I was, or bounce my leg up and down when I was, sitting watching TV or whatever, and she'd always tell me to stop. Well, now if she were alive, I would be able to tell her that nope, I was just trying to burn more calories. Fidgeting can actually burn an additional 280 calories over a 7-hour workday. Okay? So don't sit still, fidget, move around, find the comfortable spot, do what you need to do, keep moving that body. Okay? It will make a difference. Another way, take the stairs. So whenever you have the option between elevator and stairs, if you are able to, take the stairs. If you are on the phone a lot, or on like Zoom meetings a lot for work, pace around your house while you're on the phone or while you're on that Zoom meeting, as long as your coworkers don't mind. Especially when you're on the phone. If you're a big phone talker and you spend a lot of time, chatting with friends and family on the phone, pace your house or go outside and walk if you can, but it will get those steps in. Another one is we already talked about this, park farther away. This next one, I suggest all my clients do this because it is challenging to get in a good number of steps each day. So I recommend that you set a timer that will remind you to get up and walk around or stretch or move for 5 minutes every hour. If you have a smartwatch like an Apple Watch or a Fitbit, they have the function to remind you to do that. But if you don't, just set a timer. Every hour, get up and walk around for 3 to 5 minutes. Even if it's just pacing back and forth in your office, if you don't have a long space to walk, that will help you get to a step goal. And I highly encourage everyone to set a daily step goal. Right now, for my clients and myself, our step goal is 7,000 steps per day. And that is a challenge. I oftentimes will find myself at 9 o'clock at night walking up and down my stairs and around my house because I haven't hit my step goal yet. So it's not easy to do by any means, but it is hugely helpful in your weight loss, fat loss journey, and just for your body in general. You get those joints moving, the muscles moving, the heart pumping a little bit faster. Huge benefits. So, what I would recommend for your own step goal is to first get a baseline. So, just see how many steps you walk per day for the next week and find the average. And then add 1,000 to that. And that will be your step goal for next week. And then the week after that, add another 1,000 and eventually move yourself up to at least 7,000 steps. That would, I would say, would be the minimum number of steps you would want to get in each day. I have to tell you, I started doing the step goal. I never thought it was important, and we'll talk a little bit why in a minute, but I never thought it was important because I worked out all the time. So I was like, well, whatever, I don't need to get my steps, I'm fine. I started tracking my steps and having a step goal about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago. I cannot tell you how much better I feel. I have more energy. My joints hurt less. I have less like neck and back pain from sitting in front of the computer. I mean, it has made a world of difference. Plus, I'm actually able to eat more because I have raised my NEAT. I'm burning more calories by getting those steps in each day. So, and I like to eat, so I'm able to eat more and maintain my weight. Okay. All right. So again, don't forget to drop questions as we're going through this. I'm happy to stop at any point. I know I talk fast, but drop your questions in the chat and I will answer them. Even if you're watching on replay and you have a question, drop it in the chat and I will get a notification of it and I will come answer your question. All right, so the third piece of your metabolism, the thermic effect of food. So this accounts for about 10% of your metabolism, of the calories you burn. And this is the amount of energy it takes for your body to digest, absorb, and metabolize the food you eat. So basically, how many calories your body is burning while you are digesting your food. Okay, and again, that's about 10%. How can you increase this? One way: eat more protein. There are so many benefits of eating more protein. This particular benefit is the fact that it takes longer for your body to digest protein. Okay, so the thermic effect of protein is about 20 to 30%. The thermic effect of carbs is only 5 to 10%. And the thermic effect of fat is 0 to 3%. So it doesn't really take much energy for our body to digest fat. It takes a little bit more energy or more calories. Whenever I say energy, you can put in the word calories because calories are just a form of energy. It takes a little bit more energy to digest carbohydrates, but it takes the most energy to digest protein. That's why protein is so important. Not only that, but because it takes longer for your body to digest protein, you are feeling full and satisfied for much longer than if you were to eat carbs or fats. Okay? If you're in a calorie deficit, eat protein because you won't feel as restricted because you're going to feel full, all right, and satisfied. Another benefit of protein comes when you are strength training. Protein is the building block of muscle. It helps you build muscle, which we're going to talk about in a minute, why that's important. And there was one more thing I was going to say about protein, and it just left my brain. Takes longer to digest. Oh, goodness. All right. It'll come back to me, and I will share it when it comes back. All right, so the only way to increase the thermic effect of food is just to eat more protein. Have protein at every single meal. Oh, I know what I was going to say. It keeps your blood sugar stabilized, okay, which is super helpful. And carbs especially have that blood sugar fluctuating because carbs are sugars. And having a nice stable blood sugar level makes it much easier to lose weight. All right, so how much protein should you eat? Okay, so another calculation here. I am a former math teacher, so I am all about calculations. I do not expect you to do these in your head. Go ahead and get a calculator. But essentially, you want to eat somewhere between 8 tenths to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you want to eat somewhere between 120 and 150 grams of protein. That, again, just like getting the step goal, hitting 7,000 steps is not easy. Eating this much protein is not easy, especially if you're not used to it. So, again, I would recommend you start tracking your food and see how much protein you're currently eating. Most of my clients, when they come to me, they're only eating about 50 grams of protein a day. And that is not nearly enough for all of those reasons why I, explained why protein was so helpful. So that's one of the first things we work on is increasing protein intake. And, let's say you're aiming for 120 grams of protein, and let's say you eat breakfast, lunch, dinner, and one snack every day. So 4 meals, 120 divided by 4 is 30. So you're aiming for about 30 grams of protein per meal. Is another way you can kind of figure out, how to get that much protein. And I do have a protein cheat sheet. So if you are interested, just drop the word protein in the chat and I will send that cheat sheet over to you and help you figure out, where you can get protein from. Because, we don't want to eat chicken breast day in and day out. That is absolutely no fun. So there are plenty of other much more delicious ways to eat protein. Alrighty, so our last piece of our TDEE is your exercise activity thermogenesis. So before we had the non-exercise, the NEAT, this is the EAT. And this is the number of calories your body burns during intentional exercises. Okay, so when you intentionally work out, and this is the smallest piece of your metabolism. It accounts for only 5 to 10% of the calories your body burns. So be careful with this one. Many people think, oh, I exercised so I can eat more. Nope. You didn't burn nearly enough calories in your exercise session to eat more. And I lived by that for years because I taught fitness classes, sometimes, 11, 14 classes a week. And I thought I could eat whatever I wanted to because I was exercising and I was burning calories when I was exercising. Unfortunately, that really doesn't make that big of a difference. Exercise is incredibly important for so many reasons, but if you are trying to lose weight, do not rely on exercise only. Your nutrition accounts for about 70 to 80% of your weight loss results. Exercise accounts only for about 20 to 30%. And again, it's because it's only 5 to 10% of your metabolism here, right? That exercise, adds to. So how can we increase our EAT, our exercise activity thermogenesis? Strength training. So I told you we were going to get back to strength training in a minute. Building muscle, like we said when we talked about the BMR, one way to increase our BMR is to build muscle, right? Because muscle burns more calories than fat does. It's more metabolically active. So not only does building muscle increase your BMR, but it does double duty and it increases your EAT, your exercise activity thermogenesis. When we do a strength training workout compared to, say, a cardio workout, and there is nothing wrong with cardio, it has its own benefits, but for fat loss and for increasing our metabolism, strength training is key. If you were to use your Fitbit or Apple Watch and see how many calories you burned during a cardio workout versus a strength training workout, let's say they were each 30 minutes long, you will notice that you burned more calories during the cardio workout. However, that doesn't mean that that is what you should continue doing to increase your EAT. Strength training workouts may burn fewer calories while you are doing them, but the benefits of that workout are long term because you're building muscle, which is increasing your BMR. It is increasing your metabolism. The more muscle you have, the higher your metabolism is. So even though during that 30-minute session you burn more calories during cardio, strength training is the more efficient way to work out because of its benefits on your metabolism. Okay. So what typically happens, these are the myths that surround our metabolism. What most people think about each of these different parts. For the BMR, most people don't even know that it exists, right? Nobody really talks about your BMR. For the NEAT, which accounts for 15% of it, this is what I told you I believed for many, many years. Well, I work out 5 times a week. I don't need to get in any extra steps. And boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. And I'm so mad at myself that I kept telling myself that, you work out so hard. You don't have to. You could just lay on the couch the rest of the day. Ugh, if I could go back, that is one thing I would tell my younger me, to focus more on the steps and more movement. Okay, but many of us believe in this myth. Okay, I work out, I don't need to get my steps in. Okay, for this piece here, for your thermic effect of food, most of us think, well, and we hear this a lot too, a calorie is a calorie. What I eat doesn't matter as long as I'm in a calorie deficit. And yes, you need to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight. However, as we saw on that earlier slide, protein forces us to burn more calories to digest it than fats and carbs do. So we can increase our TEF by eating more protein. So yes, a calorie is a calorie. However, some calories are more metabolically efficient. Okay. And then this piece here, most people think, okay, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to start, and I'm going to exercise. That's what's most important in order to lose weight. And exercise only accounts for 5% of our metabolism. So it is not the most important. Okay. This is what we should think about our metabolism. Okay. Exercise has many health benefits, but I shouldn't only focus on it. So if you have been trying to lose weight and you've only been focusing on exercise and you're not seeing any results, I feel you. I feel you. That was me for years. Okay? You need to start paying more attention to your nutrition. And as soon as I did that, that's when things changed. I mean, it was like night and day once I started really focusing on my nutrition. The type of food I eat does have an effect on how I feel. Okay? Pay attention to how you feel when you eat protein versus when you eat a very simple carbohydrate. Okay? There are complex carbs and simple carbs. Complex carbs have fiber. Those are the ones you want to stick with. Simple carbs, things that come in packages, potato chips, cookies, muffins. Pay attention to how you feel. You feel different based on the foods that you are eating, but not many of us sit down and are mindful of that. But once you become a little more mindful of that, you can have that motivation to, oh yeah, when I eat protein, I feel a lot better. I don't have that blood sugar drop, an hour after I eat. I feel full for a longer amount of time, all of that kind of stuff. This one, probably the most important, moving throughout the day is incredibly important for many reasons. So just keep your body moving. And I need to eat enough to fuel my body as it works super hard just to keep me alive. And this is why I am so against super low calorie diets. Anything under 1,200 calories, unless you are very petite, is way too low. You're not fueling your body for all of the work it has to do. Our body is working behind the scenes like crazy, and it needs the energy to fuel it. So if you are consistently hopping from one diet to the next, you are really making it hard for your body, and you are slowing your metabolism down by doing so. So this is a question I get asked a lot. Does your age have an effect on your metabolism? And as you saw in that first calculation, the first formula, your age was part of it to figure out your TDEE, but it really doesn't have a huge effect. Okay, it will decrease your BMR about 5 calories per year. Okay, and that amounts to about, oh, I'm sorry, 5 calories, I should say 5 calories per day, which amounts to 1825 calories per year, which is about half a pound of weight gain per year. Okay, so many people blame age as to why they can't lose weight. And you're only gaining about half a pound of weight per year based on your age. So can't blame age anymore. So let's talk about the things that have a negative effect on your metabolism. Okay, living a sedentary lifestyle. The older we get, the less active we get. Okay, so as we age, it's not the number, it's our lifestyle that changes. Okay, we become much less active as we get older. We live a much more sedentary lifestyle as we get older. And that is why, one of the big reasons why we are gaining weight. Now, I have to say, I'm very, very blessed to have one grandma left. She will be 100 on August 20th. And my grandpa, her husband, he lived to be almost 99. He was, I don't know, half a month shy of 99. And I will tell you one thing that I noticed about them is that they never sat. They were constantly doing things, constantly moving. And I am a firm believer that that is what allowed them to live such a long life. In fact, one of my favorite stories is my grandparents have an amazing neighbor, Dorothy. And when my grandpa was, I think he was like 93, he decided he wanted to paint the awning over their door. And so he gets a ladder out and he starts climbing this ladder. Dorothy sees this from her house and she comes over and she yells at him, tells him to get down off the ladder. He's in his 90s. He shouldn't be doing that. But that's why he was in his 90s, is because he was able to still do that. Now, he probably shouldn't be because, you know, a lot can happen when you're on a ladder, even when you're 20. But he was able to carry that ladder over there. He was able to set the ladder up. He was able to climb up the ladder, okay, because he never really sat down. And that is a big one. Second thing, as we age, we lose muscle. Okay, so each decade, starting at the age of 30, we lose 3 to 8% of our muscle mass, which we know muscle is more metabolically active. So our metabolism is slowing down because we're losing muscle. And we're still eating the same amount of food, the same amount of calories, but we're burning fewer. So we gain weight. Okay, again, it's not specifically because of our age, it's because that we are allowing ourselves to lose muscle. One great way to counteract that is to lift weights. And it's never too late to start. Okay? I don't care if you're 80 years old, start lifting weights. You can counteract that muscle loss. Okay? Another thing is our poor eating habits. If you've been on a diet your entire life, you have slowed your metabolism down and it is now trudging through the mud, slow as molasses. Okay? Many times clients come to me who have been on a diet for the past 30 years, and the first thing I have them do is eat more calories. We got to rev that metabolism up again. Okay. And a fourth thing is not drinking enough water, getting enough sleep, and having high levels of stress. So we have a lot of control over how much water we drink. So carry a water bottle with you everywhere. In fact, I have a water bottle in my lap right now as we're speaking. And sleep can be a challenge, right? You know, we have some control over our sleep, but it's not, you know, sometimes we really have to work at it. Our stress levels, same thing. We have some control, but not a whole ton of control all the time. But being able to get some semblance of control over our stress and our sleep can help a ton in increasing our metabolism. All right. So for those of you that are watching on replay, here's your secret password. It is NEAT. So if you want access to all of the free things that I'm going to give you at the end, message me NEAT or email me NEAT and I'll get it to you. Are your hormones to blame for your weight gain? So this is a big one with women. We like to blame our age and we like to blame our hormones. Hormones possibly could have an effect, but not nearly as much as we are led to believe. We like to blame, we like to have something to blame, right? We like to blame our age or our hormones or this or that. I'm in menopause because it's easier to blame some outside source than it is to blame ourselves for not being consistent with the basics, okay? So 4 main hormones. We've got our thyroid hormone, and when our free T3 levels are low, our metabolism will slow down a bit. Cortisol, if we have consistently high cortisol levels, our metabolism will slow down because of that fight or flight response, which pauses our other body functions. Okay? And high cortisol is also often linked to high insulin. And we'll talk about insulin in a minute here. Increasing estrogen and decreasing progesterone, which is what happens when we hit menopause, can make it more challenging to lose weight. And again, these are linked to high insulin. Okay? And if we have chronic high insulin, that can lead to insulin resistance. Our body becomes resistant to insulin, which causes us to store all of that excess blood sugar as fat. So if you think hormones are to blame, if you really think that you are struggling to lose weight because of your hormones, I would highly recommend going to your doctor and having them do some blood work and checking all of these levels to see where they are at. Okay? And if they are normal, then you need to focus on consistency with the basics. Okay, with your eating, your walking, your exercise, your strength training. All right. So, quick little recap. How can we increase our metabolism? You can build muscle. You can eat more protein. You can move more throughout the day, and you can lift weights. Okay. So, walking out of here today, 2 things that you can do right away today. Move more and eat more protein. Real simple way of eating more protein is that no matter what protein you are eating at your meal, give yourself a larger serving than you would typically have. So if you typically eat 1 chicken breast, eat a chicken breast and a half. And then have a smaller serving of whatever carbohydrate. So if you've got rice, you usually eat a cup of rice, eat half a cup of rice. And that will keep your calories fairly equal, but get you more protein. Okay? And then set your move goal. Just start moving, set a timer once every hour, get up and move. Walk around your house. Okay? All right, so this is what I have for you. I have a metabolic assessment that you can fill out. It's just like a little quiz survey about your lifestyle, and in return you will receive either perimenopause or menopause, depending on where you are in life. And even if you're not even close to menopause, you will still receive an action plan. So if you would like access to this free metabolic assessment and your action plan, message me the word NEAT. So again, this is our password, the word NEAT. You can message me on Facebook, or you can send me an email, and I will send over the metabolic assessment. It will take you literally like a minute and a half to fill out, and then you can, I will get the results, and then you will receive that action plan from me via either messenger or email, depending on how you contact me. And depending on how many of you decide to do it, give me a week to get it to you, but I will do my best to get it to you as quickly as possible. And I want to see here if I can stop